ladies and gentlemen, I'm the Innkeeper, and today I would like to welcome you back to another Stonehearth time-lapse video. These things always tend to come in short bursts, as it were, and then there's nothing for a little while, but there we are. There's another one right here, more live stream footage as well. We constructed the gatehouse, or the sort of main gatehouse, with the drawbridge and a sort of, it's not really a footbridge, it kind of is. And then, of course, the main bridge that is on the sort of half on the other side that connects up to the mainland should be fairly interesting. This is at 6 times speed, if I recall correctly, and it's pretty much the entire live stream. It was nearly about 2 hours long, so it wasn't that bad, and I didn't feel like there was many areas I needed to cut out. So as you can see right here, just sort of designing the general size of the gatehouse. It's not something we haven't built before, of course. We know what we're doing in that regard, and I don't pay too much attention to that until the end of the time lapse. Excuse me. So this is just sort of getting dimensions sorted out, essentially, and understanding of what we want to actually do. So as you can see, the moat has been dug out. Now you're going to all find that out when you watch the videos, because this should come out after you see all that progress done, so don't worry about that. There's no spoilers in that regard. I don't know why I say that to myself, but I don't know. It's just sort of like a mini reminder. So there we are. The gatehouse is also much larger than all the other towers. I do believe it's about 4 levels high, as opposed to 3 levels for all the others. So 1 extra level, it does make all the difference, because it does give it that sort of prominence that I think it definitely requires, because it is going to essentially be the way to get to the town square. As you can see, just right behind it, a big block right there of road. I don't know what I'm going to put around there, but this is meant to be where all the carriages come in and sort of heavy load vehicles to drop off whatever needs to be dropped off. Merv, what are you doing? I'm trying to record this video. This is meant to be professional, and then you're just sort of ruining it. He's throwing the clothes everywhere. I can't have a video where this doesn't happen. He's done it again. Get over here, you bloody bird. Holy hell. I'm meant to be describing what I'm doing, not listening to you. I'm going to throw this over here. There we go. God's sakes. I'm not taking this out. This is a part of the channel. Everyone's just going to have to get used to this. Dealing with this bird in the background is just part of the channel. You got your family channels out there, there's kids in the background, that's just a part of life. Having a parrot in the background harassing me is just a part of my life. We also... Let me just get a breather right there. I'm also building the wall designs to connect that up to the main gatehouse, as you can see right there. I didn't end up putting any details on the walls. I will get that done on the next video. And also, you will not be seeing the moat in this time lapse as well, or the water going in, because I want that to be on the next video as well. So it'll be on the one after this upload, I believe, if I recall correctly. I do save occasionally as well. Probably should have cut those out. I'm watching over this again, and I already watched over it. But that's fine, but it doesn't really matter too much. It doesn't take up too much time. So I'm making the gate, or the drawbridge right now. And it's a fairly large drawbridge. It's fairly thick, which I definitely thought gave it a nice sort of stability look to it. Or it looked like it was enforceable, and it had a little bit of weight to it, which definitely, I think, was required. Because you see the smaller one that we have on the smaller gatehouse that we have for people. It's, you know, it's small. It's not as prominent. It's not as heavy. And I wanted to give it that heavy look. It's meant to be on a much larger gate. And these chains as well are also much larger. And I do quite like them. It's a simple chain design. There's nothing too big about it. I also have a little bit of blocks on either side sticking out a little bit to show that they're sort of connecting to the gate in some sort of manner, which I do quite like. And like I said, I get all of this lot done before I actually get the general gatehouse designed. Mostly because this was the part I was mostly interested in, because I've not really done this kind of footbridge, drawbridge into a normal bridge kind of design. It was a bit tricky, I'm not gonna lie. It was sort of generally trying to find out how not to overshadow the main gatehouse without also diminishing on sort of aesthetic, if that makes sense. Which I think I ended up getting done fairly well. I pretty much just made a similar design with what I've done with the walls, with the footbridge that I'm creating right now. It's starting to look a little bit like a heart, which is what I immediately thought when I finished off, which I thought, man, maybe it'll look kind of cute. It's meant to be sort of nice town, so maybe that's sort of a big thing they've got there. But it never ended up sort of taking fruition in that regard. And this is just sort of the little bit in the middle. And this is what's meant to sort of hold the drawbridge, essentially. You know, we're not just going to sort of keep it on the weight of the chains that fall off eventually. So the bridge will rest on this section, essentially. You see it right there. The little lip right there. We're making a little bit on the side here as well, just to make it seem like it's not just hanging on by a little bit of wood on the end of the drawbridge. That would look a little bit silly. There you go. I don't add too much design to that section. That's just sort of there. Most of this will be submerged in water anyway. So don't worry too much about sort of the smaller details. I didn't really, just because you won't be able to see it. You won't be able to really you won't be able to get a clear view of it because it's going to be submerged in water. And you'll be able to see that on the next episode. But as you can see, I'm sort of making a general sort of what's the word for it? Rampart, I suppose. It's just a general wall design, really. I don't really add any roof to this section either. Merv's like mucking around again. He's distracting me. Can you stop, please? I'm trying to be professional. It's not something I'm used to doing. The main problem I had with this is that it looks very spiky. It looks slightly evilish. With the water, not so much. But by itself, before I finish off the general gatehouse design, it does tend to have this sort of weird invoking presence. I don't know if some people would sort of admire when they're first entering the town. Is this a good place to live? Yeah, it is a good place to live, but I feel like it gives off the wrong impression with the spikes and the heads on those spikes and all this horrible stuff. Just don't pay attention to that. It was just some delinquents. This section that I've got on the end of the bridge right there will be edited out later. I don't know what I was really going for when I first sort of wanted to get the bridge laid out. But this is me starting on the bridge right here. It's just a flat bridge. I didn't want to do any sort of arc or anything like that because I thought it wouldn't really make much sense if we're going to have carriages going up and down. He's chewing on the door right now. Where's my weapons of war? Hold on a second. Maybe I'll move out of the way if I do this. There we go. There we go. Yeah, get out of the way, you little shit. No, right, come here. It's like walking over to me as if I'm going to save him. He really is a child. But as you can see, I'm getting these sort of arcs on the bottom of the bridge sorted out. I wanted 2 of them. I felt like having one just sort of long arc would sort of make it look a little bit odd to me. Just because I feel like it adds that extra level of stability, which I think is required if there's going to be a lot of heavy traffic going through the main bridge right here. And this will be hollowed out, essentially. Well, it won't be hollowed out, but the bars will be connected, so it's not just going to sort of be this and then nothing in the middle, because that would be a little bit strange. And I will be sort of emphasizing them, as you can see right here, with a nice little outline that I will make a slight change to later. It's not even on either side, and that's deliberate, because I think it does give a nice effect that I think is very much prominent later on when you can see it in its fruition. The main bridge, like I said, a flat bridge. These are roadblocks as well, so they should be using them or prioritizing the use of them when going back and forth, doing their jobs here and there. And the many ladders around this moat as well will be deleted. Is that a hovering block there I just saw? I think there is. No, I can see a hovering block. It's creeping me out a little bit. I don't know why it's creeping me out, but it really is. And this is the same sort of effect that we have with the walls. There's a particular word I'm trying to come up with right now, but for some reason I can't. It's like battlement, but not really a battlement. Crenellation, there we go. Why is that the one word I use all the time when I'm building in these videos and I just forgot it? Crenellation, it's a very big art style that I tend to favor. And as you can see right here, I'm connecting up the bars at the bottom of the bridge. It's a little bit tricky. It always is tricky to build from underneath something in this game. I don't know why, it's just, you can't look directly up. It won't let you. So you've got to sort of awkwardly build around it like this and then delete certain parts because it sort of overbuilds, as it were. And there will be a little indent in the center because I did find it was a little bit too, I suppose, large. It needed to be a little bit more narrow, and having that extra block added to that. I'm having trouble speaking. It's the morning. Give me time. Give me time. Give me a moment here. This is a lot for me. It was very fun constructing this, though. It was definitely not as quick, though, as I was anticipating it being. I'm very picky. I'm changing colors here and there. I'm making different decisions. Usually, though, that's because I don't want to sort of build something all over again when I don't like it. I hate doing that. I really do. Sometimes you have to do it, but I try and strive not to have to do it at all. I would prefer not to do it. It saves so much more time in the long run. And this is where I end up making this sort of arc. I did make the gatehouse with the bridge and all that lot slightly higher level than the actual floor, because I wanted to make sure that the water would go underneath the bridge and not sort of go right over it or anything like that, or be close enough where it's like, what's the point of having a bridge? So that's why it's sort of arced upwards a little bit, and it goes sort of arcs inward like that. I kind of like the design, to be honest. It's simple, but it does the job. You can see me sort of moving around here. This is where I start adding sort of the final designs to the main gatehouse. And it's similar to what I usually do, just making a fine arc between the doorway here before we end up adding the gatehouse, or the portcullis, as it were. I had a little bit of trouble lining this up. I don't know why. I was a bit tired at the time, I suppose. But I do recall having some trouble lining this all up. But I do get it done eventually. It's just going to be a lot of back and forth. Just a little bit, a smidge. It's fine. I'm trying to follow with the same design as the main walls right there. And we do end up adding some flags as well as some light sources. I don't end up adding any flowers, though. You will be seeing that in the video after this. I just forgot about them. I really did. I completely forgot to put the flowers in. So there I am, putting in the portcullis. It's not too high up, or sorry, too low down. I didn't want it to be too low down. I kind of like the look at it right now. It's quite present, as long as it's noticeable, because I think this without the portcullis looks a little bit... It looks fine, but it doesn't look like it's meant to keep anything out. So having that right there really shows that it is designed with that in mind. It's not just there to look pretty. I do try to sort of fill in these holes right here. And this is where I find out I made a little mistake. And there we are. I've cleaned that up a little bit. And changing colors here and there. And I'm just sort of messing around here, trying to sort of fit a similar design to what I did with the bridge. Just making these pillars with the lighter block color that we have for the brick selection. And this is where I end up going out by one and having the same effect as I did with the other gatehouse, which was to sort of just have a roofless gate, essentially. A roofless top, even. That's just highlighting the bottom right there. I do tend to like doing stuff like that. It does make particular parts of builds more prominent, which I think is definitely required. Highlighting is very important in building. You want some sections to be more noticeable to the eye immediately than others. That way, if you don't end up doing something like that, everything being the same color, for instance, it might look a little bit awkward at first before their eye really adjusts. So if anything, you're just giving people a little bit of help noticing certain sections here and there. Just adding these sort of blocky crenellations. Like I said, similar to what I did with the other gatehouse. Much more blocky than the ones that we have on the walls. And then we just sort of got these spikes again. Still questioning whether or not I like them. In fact, if I recall correctly, we'll be changing them in a little bit. Just sort of adding a little bit of shape here and there. I do end up adding a few windows, although there is a little bit of a bug with the middle section of the gatehouse I was slightly aggravated with. I couldn't make any windows on the middle. I don't know why. And I'm pretty sure that block can't spawn in as well. I don't know what happened there, but the game's, you know, buggy, so I just had to shrug it off. Even if it did perturb me. And this is just adding some flashy designs. Just having a ring. I think I have about 3 of them going around the main gatehouse. It's like blocking up the sections, really. In fact, it might be 2. And then 1 at the bottom as well. Just to take up some space, really. I don't like the idea of just having a flat surface. It looks a bit dull. So I'd like to add bits here and there. This is where we add the windows. I really like these windows. They look really menacing. We got the dwarven windows back again. We put them on the back section. For some reason, as you can see, I'm just having trouble sort of putting any windows in. And we place some highlights at the bottom. I don't end up completing the moat side walls yet on the bottom section. I will be getting that done before the next video, so don't worry about that. And that will be where we see the moat come into full fruition with the entire building pretty much ready. And then for the rest of the series, it's pretty much going to get the houses constructed as well as getting a town hall made as well. I'm looking forward to getting done. Shouldn't be too tricky. In fact, it should be very simple. Just the roadblocks again. Almost like a grand carpet. And that will be it, ladies and gentlemen. The finished design right here. Just spawning it in so you can all see what it looks like on one side. As you can see, the bottom is yet to be finished. There are a few cracks here and there that I need to also dig out. As you can probably see right there at the corner. There you are. Thank you, me. So I have to get those mined out. A little bit of cleaning up to do, of course. And then the water itself. But I think that looks really good. Especially the depth of the bridge right there. I do quite like looking at it from a side. And the darker blocks around, like I said, highlights. Very important way to sort of add more to a structure. Especially from a distance or up close. It always looks good. It's not too much as well. But there we are, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for watching. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe, all that good stuff. Follow me on Twitter. For updates on my channel on Twitch for live streams. Have a look at the playlist as well for the Stonehearth buildings. There are many other builds before this one. Loads of them much larger than this one as well. This one's actually relatively small. So have a look at that. Been a pleasure as always. And I look forward to building for you all next time. Bye-bye.